Hey everybody, thank you for volunteering to serve in the Coop. This training video is going to go over all of the basics of what you need to know in order to serve well in this area. So the first thing that I would like to talk with y'all about is your role as a small group leader. So let's look at the do for a few sheet together. There are 5 goals on here that you'll be working towards as a leader. And the first is to be present. So your presence on a Sunday morning is going to play a major role in how the kids see church, and most importantly, how they see Jesus. So please make sure that you make the most of the time that you have in the room and be a positive and welcoming person that the children can embrace and love. We do ask that you arrive 10 minutes early to be there to greet the kids when they start to show up. What we don't want is we don't want to see kids or parents show up to an empty room with no adults there. So it's important that you are the first one there and you greet the children. I also ask that you put your phone away while you are in the coop, and please familiarize yourself with the content and the material before coming to church so that you are fully present with the kids. Number 2 on this list is to create a safe place. So we want you to send physical, spiritual, and emotional signals that where they are is safe. Make sure you know if a student has an allergy, if there's food or a dough project that they're working on. When kids have a difficult question, welcome it and embrace what you don't know. It's okay to say, I don't know, but that's a great question. And you can also signal safety by being aware of the safety policies that we have in place, and we'll go over that in a little bit. Number 3 is partner with parents. So as you lead the kids, look for ways to keep parents informed so that they can disciple kids at home. One way we do this is through the devotional sheet that goes home with them each week with the kids. When a parent comes to pick a child up, just make sure that a devotional goes home with each child. And if you see some spiritual progress in a child, let the parent know that. Maybe someone volunteered to pray or has the scripture verse memorized. You can celebrate those things with parents. And those are things that parents want to know. It's also important that we try as best as we can to reinforce parental authority. So, for example, if a rule is established at home that there's no sweets after 6 p.m. and a kid comes to church and says, well, that rule's stupid. Well, we can use our influence to help the child see why that might actually be a good rule to have at home. Number 4 is make it personal. So the kids in the room are going to look up to you as an example of Christ. So it's important to remember that the way you live your personal life can impact the children, and we want to be positive role models and examples for them. And then finally, number 5 is move them out. Remember that a kid may forget what you taught them, but they won't forget what God does through them. So we're hoping to create space for God to move in the time that we have in the coop. Help children engage God through Scripture and the created world around them. Help them discuss their faith and ask hard questions. Teach them to pray and give them opportunities to connect with God in prayer, and help them to take steps of faith in worship and service. For example, if you notice a gift in a child like reading really well, you could encourage them to read scripture in big church on Sunday morning. And if you'll let me know that you've encouraged them to do that, that would be great. So these are the 5 things that you need to remember in order to be successful with the children that you serve in the coop. Be present, create a safe place, partner with parents, make it personal, and move them out. Okay, let's talk briefly about safety, and then we'll move on to the curriculum and exploring the space. There are 4 pieces of paper in your packet that you'll need to read over and review. And the first one is the background check form. All volunteers need to pass a background check, and so I ask that you fill that out as soon as possible and return that to me. The second thing in your packet is the policies for safety and security. I ask that you read over all of these, but I'm just going to highlight a few major things for you to remember. There should always be 2 adults in the room, so we ask that you are never alone with a child, and that includes the bathroom. Also, please make sure that all touching rules and guidelines are followed. It's appropriate to hug a kid, but it's inappropriate at this stage for them to sit in your lap. And if a child doesn't want to be hugged or touched, then we ask that you please respect that. Another important thing to remember is that you shouldn't post pictures on your personal social media accounts and then tag a parent in it or mention the child's name. If you do post online, just make sure that it's always of an activity and not the child's face. If you have questions about those policies, then please let me know. There are 2 other sheets in your packet called the Reporting Suspected Abuse and Neglect and Crisis Management Plan. Those documents will give you signs to look for of abuse, such as unexplained burns and bruises or overt sexualized behavior that are inappropriate for children at their level. And the crisis plan will walk you through the steps that we take if there's an instance of abuse. But please, if you see something, say something, and you can always come to me in confidence to share any concerns that you may have. Okay, let's move on to the schedule. What actually happens in the coop on Sunday mornings? When you arrive at 8:35, all of the supplies that you'll need will be in the room for you. There will not be much prep work that you need to do other than maybe doing a tape line or setting out a game that you'll play that morning. So from 8:45 to 8:55, you'll welcome kids and you'll take roll. There's a blue folder that looks like this on the check-in table for you to mark kids' names as present. From 8:55 to 9:05, you'll do a large group activity with all the kids in the open space. And this will normally take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on the activity. And then in the curriculum, there's a transition statement in the opening activity that will help you connect the activity that you're doing to the Bible story. From 9:05 to 9:20, the kids will gather around the stage and watch the Bible story video, go over the question of the day and the bottom line, and review the Bible verse of the month together. All of this is in the PowerPoint, and I'll show you that later. After that, from 9:20 to 9:40, K through 2nd grade and 3rd through 6th grade will split into 2 groups for some age-appropriate activity. There may be weeks when you need to combine due to low numbers, but if at all possible, allow the children to go to their own environments because the older kids are having discussions that are going to set them up for small group time when they join the youth group. And then after prayer, dismissal will be from 9:40 to 9:45. So make sure to give the children or the parent a weekly devotional before the kids leave, and those are in the buckets as well. After the children are gone, you can use the time that you have left to put away supplies and clean up any messes, and that's what a morning in the coop looks like. All right, so let's move on to the curriculum. In your packet, you will see October week 3 as your sample lesson, and on the left-hand side of the page, there are a few important details. You'll see the text for the day, and this is float on, which is Moses is being born from Exodus 2. You'll also see the bottom line and the monthly memory verse. So the kids should leave the coop knowing the bottom line for the day. So please make sure to go over that several times with them during group. And a faith skill that we would really like the kids to learn is memorizing scripture. So also remember to go over that monthly memory verse with the kids several times as well. You can also incentivize this if you would like to by offering a treat or a prize on the last Sunday if the kids have memorized the verse. Alrighty, on to content. So the first thing that you'll see on the first page is the opening activity. So directly under that, you'll see the supplies that you need for this activity. So in this case, it is upbeat music. And then the what you do section will give you instructions on how to set up the activity, and the what you say section will tell you what information you need to share with the kids. So for this activity, it is going to tell you to gather the kids and make sure everyone knows the rules for the freeze dance. And then kids dance while the music is playing, then freeze when it stops. If anyone moves after the music stops, they're out. Play until you have a winner or you have 3 or 4 minutes left for the activity, and then start another game. After you pause the music the first time, hold your finger over the pause button for an unusually long time. When kids get fidgety, start the music again, and play for as long as you have time. So those are your instructions. And then it tells you what to say. How did you feel when I froze you for a long time? What did you think happened? Forget to hit play, trying to get more people out, didn't know what was going on. You did a mostly good job of staying frozen, even when you didn't know what was happening. And then there's your transition sentence. Let's go here about what to do when we don't know what to do. And it says, lead your group to the large group area. So the opening activity is always going to set the children up to hear the Bible story. And in this case, what you're trying to do is confuse them by extending the pause time of the game for longer than it probably should be. And this is going to help the kids process the fact that there are times in life when we simply don't know what's going on or what to do. All right, so at this point, everybody's going to gather around the stage for the video, and you can find everything that you're going to need on this presentation. So this is the theme slide, and everything will be open and ready to go for you when you arrive. So you'll see this on Sunday morning when you get to the room. Following the theme slide, you'll see the Bible story video with a link. You'll see the bottom line, and that one's hold on because God is still in control. And then you'll see the scripture memory verse for the month, Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary of doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So after the kids get together around the stage, you will just click on the Bible story video hyperlink right here. And if this page comes up, sometimes it does, you'll just click on Browse YouTube. And it comes up. And you can just do full screen mode and let the video play. You can...
I don't.
You can cut the lights off if you want, so that the kids can see better. And then at the end of the presentation, there will be a question for you to discuss.
Out of control. Maybe things feel out of control because you just moved and you haven't made new friends yet.
Maybe you're not able to understand a subject in school, no matter how hard you study.
Maybe your family is going through some tough stuff and it just doesn't feel like it's ever going to change.
Or maybe your house is sinking.
Life can sometimes feel like it's out of control, but thankfully, we have friends and family and a God who loves us and has a plan to one day make things right. God is in control.
Now, that's great to know.
So, talk about it together. What feels out of control?
We'll see you next.
So for this particular video, the question is, what feels out of control? So you can ask the kids that question, let them give you some answers, and then tie that back into the bottom line for the week. And then after you've discussed the question, just make sure you go over the bottom line and the memory verse for the month. And then after that happens, you'll be able to split up into your rooms. And so after the activities are over, the kids will split up into K through 2nd grade and 3rd through 6th grade. So at the beginning of the month, I will send an email to you with the lesson plans in it. And in the top right-hand corner, you will see where I've written, like it's Brittany's name and their small group, K through 2nd. And these activities will work just like the opening activity with what you need, what you do, and what you say. Everything that you need is provided for you in your room. So we're going to look at pages 4 and 5 together. This activity is for the 3rd through 6th grade group. And in this activity, you have a team Miriam and a team Egyptian. And the team Miriam is given a balloon wrapped in a towel to represent Moses. And their job is to get Moses to the river, which is a blue tablecloth on the other side of the room. And so if team Egyptian tags the person with Moses, the game starts over. And then after the game is played a few times, the what you say section will lead you to discuss the game and reinforce the bottom line. And the difference here is that the older kids will have an extra set of discussion questions. And these are important because we're using these to prepare our older kids to think deeply about their faith and to prepare them for small groups in youth ministry. So on the back of the page, you'll see a closing prayer activity that works the same way as the other sections. You'll need a draw the mountain sheet and pens, and the kids will write the bottom line on their paper, and you can close in prayer. And that would be a great time to take prayer requests and give the children a chance to pray if they would like to lead in prayer. It doesn't need to be verbatim like what is on the sheet. And then that's it. Group is over, and if there's extra time and the kids have been well behaved, they are free to play until dismissal. Okay, so let's walk through the room and I'll show you where everything is at. So this is your check-in station, and here are the two folders that you'll need. The blue one is for check-in, and the purple one is for medical release information. And then I've also got like a little cheat sheet here that tells you how to greet a visitor. And at the end there, it says, give the guardian a medical release form after the third visit and ask them to return for our records. And just please make sure that if you have a child that comes to visit, that you ask if there are any allergies or special needs that we need to be made aware of. So after the kids are checked in the blue folder, they can come in and sit down and play. We have a game station over here. All four of these cubbies are filled with games for the kids. And then we also have a sensory bin right here. They have some poppets and some headphones in case kids need something for their nervousness, or if they need headphones because noise is too loud, they can use those headphones there. All right, this is a supplies closet. And you'll see in here that there's almost any type of supply that you could possibly need for an activity. These are extras. So each week, everything will be ready for you, but these are extra supplies in case there's something missing. And we've got them labeled like superhero capes, beads and buttons, etc., etc., etc. So hopefully it's easy for you to find supplies if you are ever in need of anything extra. Okay. Next, we have the bins that you'll use. So each bin is labeled week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. These are the large group bins. So you'll come over here and you'll see inside that there is a physical copy of the sheet that you'll use as your guide. There's the devotions that will go home with the kids and any supplies that you'll need for the activity. You'll also notice below you that there are black duffel bags. Those are Wednesday night bags, so you will never touch those. You won't need to use any of the supplies in those bags. So when you get here on a Sunday morning, you'll just grab the supply bin, and that will have everything you need in it for large group and your personal guide and the devotion. Okay? Then you will go to do your large group activity, and then there are stools for the kids to sit on for the Bible study. And then after the Bible story is over with, you have 2 rooms. You have your 3rd through 6th grade room, and you have your kindergarten through 2nd grade room. And I'll just show you in here all of the supplies that you'll need for your small group activity are in the bins. So everything you need will be right there. And the same is true for the 3rd through the 6th grade room. If you look inside, there's a little bin, and it has all the supplies that you need to pull off your activity. And then the final thing that I'll show you is the leader lounge. So when you come in on Sunday morning, if you are in need of some coffee, there's a coffee station for you right there. There's also some note cards and pens and stamps. So if you see a kid do something that you're proud of, if they memorize the memory verse or they prayed and you wanted to tell them that you noticed it, please come in and fill out a card to send them a note, and you can just drop that off in the mail, or you can give it to me and I can mail that out for you. And then over here are just the 5 reminders of a small group leader. And then each month I always post an overview of the month, so you can see the entire month, what we are learning and what our focus is. And that pretty much sums up the room and everything that you would need to know to serve well in the coop. The only other thing that I would show you is over here in the corner. There are some snacks, Bibles, and then there are 2 supply trays if you need extra pens and markers and things like that.